He was one of my generals. General James Mattis is on his way out. The president tweeting, General Jim Mattis will be retiring with distinction at the end of February after having served my administration as Secretary of Defense for the past 2 years. The announcement comes a day after the president announced his plans to withdraw troops from Syria, a move Mattis disagreed with, according to numerous defense officials. They were also at odds after President Trump asked the military for plans to withdraw troops from Afghanistan. Tensions have been simmering for months, and President Trump seemed to publicly criticize Mattis in a recent interview.
I think he's sort of a Democrat.
In a lengthy resignation letter, Mattis said the president deserved a Secretary of Defense whose views were better aligned with his, and talked about the importance of alliances and partnerships, a reference to the rifts he's had with Mr. Trump over Mr. Trump's treatment of historically strong allies. Mattis was among the president's first cabinet picks.
General Mad Dog Mattis.
And now he joins the ranks of departed top officials within the Trump administration. The president tweeting, a new Secretary of Defense will be named shortly. Kristen Welker, NBC News, the White House.
And to get some analysis on this, I'm joined by Euronews reporter Alistair Sanford. Well, good morning, Alistair.
Morning, Isabel.
So, General Mattis was seen as a stabilising influence on Donald Trump. We heard in the package that they're pretty close allies at the beginning. Can you tell us a little bit more about this resignation?
Well, it does seem that the final straw was the decision to pull troops out of Syria and now Afghanistan. Jim Mattis reportedly opposed a gradual withdrawal, and he was dismayed by this move. And yesterday we had confirmation a US official said, as well as Syria, that the president planned to pull at least 5,000 of the 14,000 strong presence out of Afghanistan as well. Now, he's said to have gone to the White House to try to persuade Donald Trump to change his mind. And when he failed, he handed in his resignation letter. Now, we saw that Donald Trump tried to say in his tweets that the general was retiring. That's really not true because it's here in black and white. Here's a very long resignation letter. And the reasons are he is opposed to the Trump policy. Let's have a look at where he's at odds. He talks about our strength as a nation being linked to the comprehensive system of alliances and partnerships. We can't protect those interests without maintaining those strong alliances. He refers to the 29 democracies that fought alongside the US after 9/11, saying we must be resolute and unambiguous in tackling countries with whom we're in tension, whose interests are not in line with ours. And he refers to China and Russia, who want to impose their authoritarian model on the rest of the world. Twice he talks about treating allies with respect, talks about his own 4 decades of experience, and the implication is that Trump is not treating those allies with respect. In fact, there's no praise for the president at all in this long letter. But he does sign off by saying effectively, you're the boss, you have the right to name a Secretary of Defense whose views are more better aligned with yours.
And then what implications will this have on kind of American foreign policy on the ground, but also in terms of the Trump administration?
Well, there's immediate concern, of course, over what happens in Syria and concern for the Kurdish forces who US troops had been involved in training. The SDF forces are very much sandwiched between the Assad government's forces and a hostile Turkey to the north. There's also the battle over ISIS, of course, which isn't won, even though they've regained lots of territory. There's fears they could regroup. Afghanistan, it's felt that war isn't going well, but most military commanders are not in favor of withdrawing troops. At home, there's been surprise and shock, even amongst Republicans. Mitch McConnell, the Senate Republican leader, said he was distressed over Mattis resigning over such sharp differences over key aspects of global leadership. Mattis, we heard Trump say, is no softie, Mad Dog Mattis. He was one of his staunchest allies at the beginning, but a traditionalist in embracing NATO, defending traditional allies. Trump and his supporters, of course, think there is no reason to be fighting remote civil wars a long way from home. But here we are, halfway through the Trump presidency, a string of resignations and dismissals. The White House is seen as increasingly unpredictable.